Right. Okay, now we're recording. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Cook for Life class. Today we're going to a kiss bowl. Keep it simple, sweetie. I don't want to insult anyone. Anyway, so does anyone have anything in particular that they want covered today? This meeting's, oh, I got to say that I got it. I got it. Okay. So, well, what time is it? We can get started pretty quick, I guess. So let me look at my little notes here. So I can talk about things either, I guess, as I do them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about quinoa. This is not Booby's pickles. This is quinoa. Anyway, and quinoa is not really a grain, it's a seed, and it's mostly grown in South America, places like Brazil, Peru, Chile, although now they're growing it in the United States too. And it is really good stuff. It's high in protein, it's high in fiber. I think I actually have some information about it. Let's see. One cup dry is 3 cups cooked. It's a complete protein. Let's see, a quarter cup dry is has in it 6 grams of protein, 3 grams of fiber, 10% of your RDA for iron, plus lots of good stuff, manganese, zinc, folate, thiamine. It's really good stuff, and it's healthier than brown rice. I mean, it's hard to say that, right? Brown rice is like, you know, the macrobiotic winner. But quinoa is really healthy stuff. So we eat a lot of quinoa, and it also cooks really quick. And if you use an Instapot, it takes like a minute, and then you know, just let it hang out. And then and if you cook it in on the stovetop, it just takes like 12 to 15 minutes or so. So that's the quinoa. And so we're going to start. I am making it in my Instapot. So I'm going to measure out. Oh, one other thing about quinoa is it has saponins in it. So it's good to rinse. So here's my cup of quinoa. Oh my God. I'm a little short on the quinoa. You know what? Voila, I have another bag of quinoa here. You can buy quinoa in bulk, which I often do, but I also get it at, well, Trader Joe's, of course, right? So this is the bag of quinoa. And
tricolor.
Yeah, that's the tricolor. So we're going to have a little bit of mixing of the colors here. Good thing I had this bag handy. And what I'm going to do is put it in here and then rinse it a bit. The cameraman's following me, right? You can just point in this direction. Okay, and then when I rinse it, my hands are clean. I'm going to kind of scrunch it a little bit just to get out the saponins. And then there's something I forgot to get out in advance, so don't follow me. I'm going to go get a mesh
strainer.
Strainer, because it's really tiny little seeds. And if you put it through a regular colander, you're going to lose most of it. So this is a fine mesh strainer. Oh, that's really cool looking. This reminds me of Romper Room. Remember that? And I see Cynthia and I see Joyce. Anyway, okay. For all of us old timers. And then I'm just going to pour out the top part and then pour it in here and rinse it. So I don't know if I told you guys to have a mesh strainer, but you could also do it by just putting a plate over the bowl and being very careful.
You did tell us to have a mesh strainer.
I did?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Okay, good. It's always so good when I actually remember things. And then I'm going to put it in my Instapot. Started, what was that? If it's somebody who's texting me, I'm not going to be able to see it. So, okay, so here is the rinsed quinoa, and I'm putting it in here. And I just want to show you my, every Instapot, different ones come with recipes. recipes, and this one actually has a recipe for cilantro quinoa, lime quinoa, and I just make the quinoa. Anyway, this is my, I'll show you. This is my multi-pot. It's a melting multi-pot, which I have. And so it's like an Instapot, it's the same thing. And it just calls for, you could also saute this stuff. This recipe calls for sauteing it, but I'm not going to. I'm just making it plain with a cup of water. It takes 1 3/4 cups if you're doing it in a
Pot.
in a regular pot on the stove. I do not even have a regular pot on the stove anymore. I think I overfilled it just a tiny bit. This is 1 cup of water. You could also use leftover vegetable water, or make yourself some broth out of a bouillon cube, low sodium, of course. So there I have it. Let me just go get, I can just use a regular spoon that I have handy here. I don't have to walk away. And I'm just mixing this up. I'm gonna put it back into the machine.
Renee, why did you rinse the quinoa first?
Okay, it has something in it called saponins, which are a little bitter. Although they have a new process of growing it, apparently, that some of the growers in the United States have it without saponins anyway. But I've been making quinoa for years, so I just do it the old way, where I
Okay, so
I
something
sponge it
bitter.
around and rinse it to get rid of the saponins. I've never, yeah. So otherwise, it might be a little bitter. But
Saponins are a plant protector, but they're also what is in soap.
thank you, thank you. Okay, so I'm plugging this in, and I'm gonna put this cover on. I'm just gonna time it for 1 minute. I'm putting it on multi-grain for 1 minute. I gotta face this from having made brown rice the other night. And then it just automatically starts. And you gotta make sure you have your vent thing put to, you know, so that the pressure cooks, so the vent is closed. Okay, so we have that going. Why don't you answer that? It may be somebody having technical difficulties. So, okay, so then we're gonna get started. Then we're gonna get started on our kale. I wanna talk a few moments about kale. Dennis, if it's a technical issue you can't deal with, have them call the kids. Okay,
Kale.
I don't know who he's talking to. Anyway, so this is kale. Kale and all the other greens are 5-star vegetables. I mean, all vegetables are lovely, but kale and collards and even turnips and even spinach, they have like far more protein, phytochemicals, vitamin A, vitamin C, all sorts of great stuff in them. So they're like super duper healthy.
Get them organic.
Yeah, and I bought this at the farmer's market on Thursday. So what I do with it
I
is
have to brag. I just went out in the garden and cut my own kale.
Good for you.
I should go
Hey,
out to your garden and cut my own kale. Okay, so what I do is I just kind of take the stem off like that. It just works, you know, it's kind of fun. There wasn't a lot of kale here in this bunch, but it's what I got. Oh, and don't use the part with the rubber band. Okay, so what I'm gonna is, this is the pot that I'm gonna cook it in. So I like to save dishes. So I am, there's another phone ringing there. Okay, well, my cameraman is not here to follow me, but I am here by the kitchen sink, and I'm just gonna rinse the kale. Now, some people in this household like their greens very well cooked. So I always start those first. Okay, for those of you who don't know, Dennis also is part of a group called Final Friends, and people call because they help people do home funerals. So he gets calls all the time. People, somebody's dying and what do we do, and advises them. So I don't know, he had one of those earlier today, so I don't know if this is the follow-up. Anyway,
You're allowed to have the phone ring.
I know. Hey, we live in a house. Anyway, so I am gonna put just a very small amount of water in here. I had my water from here, so I don't have to go to the sink. I'm going to chop up the kale. Bite-sized pieces. Here we go. Watch your fingers. This is not a whole lot of kale. Usually one bunch of kale, you get a lot more out of it, I would say. In fact, sometimes I steam this stuff and then I just like save some of it. Now, speaking of saving things, the liquid that's in here, I'm going to save the liquid afterwards because I'm going to use it for soup or grains or making quinoa the next time. Okay, so I'm over here. I don't know if you can see me.
Yeah,
You can see me. Okay, terrific. Anyway, so that worked. I'm gonna turn on the light so I don't hurt myself and close my pressure cooker. You guys, does anybody need a refresher on how to use the pressure cooker? We have to wait for the cameraman. Anyway, I'm turning it on and I'm gonna wait till it comes to a
pressure.
thing. Okay. What is it? Somebody with,
tech support.
they can call either kid, correct? Mayura, Yossi?
Yes, that is fine.
Okay, so call Mayura's number or Yossi's number, either one. Okay, and then I have a sweet potato. Sweet potatoes. Okay, what's the difference between a sweet potato and a white potato? They're in totally different families. Who would have guessed? They kind of look, you know, like the redheaded kid and the blonde kid or whatever in the same family, but they're not. The white potatoes are in the Solanaceae nightshade family, and these are actually in the morning glory family. Who would have guessed? What's the story, morning glory? Anyway, I'm going to rinse this. I'm going to
Tubers.
part.
And the-
They're
They're
both
both
tubers.
tubers. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're in different families.
Lots of-
Anyway, and
You get carotene from the sweet potato.
exactly. Not only it has lots more phytochemicals, anything that has more color is going to be healthier, but it also has less calories, less carbohydrates, and a much lower glycemic index.
It's more
So I
important
always go
also
for-
for
Pardon?
white potatoes are not clean grown generally, whereas the sweet potatoes, you know, if they're not organic, they're probably still pretty good.
Uh-huh, interesting. So yeah,
Renee?
I also taste-wise, I just really prefer them. And some people who have trouble with nightshades, they, you know, then you don't want to eat potatoes. I personally have not had a potato in about 20 years. So, yeah,
Renee,
really.
I have a question about cilantro.
What about cilantro?
Can you eat the blooms?
Yes.
That I
Yes.
enjoy.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
cilantro is coriander, isn't it?
I have blooms right here.
Okay, so
And the
here we
seeds.
go.
Coriander. Yes.
I'm gonna cut this into little pieces, and after the greens have cooked for just a tiny bit, I don't know why it turns dark like that, but it's probably not a big deal. I'm gonna cut this up.
Oxidation. It's oxidizing.
Pardon?
It's oxidizing.
It's oxidizing. It doesn't always do that though.
If you run it
So-
underwater, it'll probably,
That's, yeah, you could leave it underwater. Who was that?
Could you, there are a lot of people calling in, they're not getting in.
A lot of people are calling in, they're
So
not
it-
getting in. They need to use the password food.
They need
It
to
didn't
call
prompt me
us.
for a password.
I didn't have to either.
I just clicked that link in your morning email.
So kids, a lot of people are calling in, so they're probably gonna call Yossi.
Yeah, I told them call us.
Okay, hopefully that'll work. We're on our way here. So we have lift off. Well, that's a shame they didn't get in because we're already halfway through here, but major confusion. Okay, so we're still cutting up. I see people cutting up things. This is great. I'm a real cut up. See, I should have been a cooking comedian.
I
There we
think a
go.
lot of people went to the old,
They went to
link.
use the old link. I don't know what to do.
But,
They should use their email.
tell them to just try clicking that one you sent this morning, because somebody
That's
else said
They
that
can
it,
click on the one I
and for
sent
me,
this
it just
morning.
logged right in without.
They didn't
without
get it this
password.
morning, well, they got it. They just don't read their email. It said important on it and cook
Mhm,
for
yeah.
life. And these guys got it.
Sometimes things go to your junk folder.
Oh, well, junk folder. Yeah, well, look in your junk folder. I can. Okay, well, so the story is that my kids are actually together right now. My daughter went to Washington DC she has a meeting next week and she went early. And so my kids went rock climbing today. And, and everybody else likes we were on a bike ride at, 4 o'clock. So I think it's in this. Okay, so the noise you hear is the kale steaming. I forgot to time it, but I have it on the lowest possible thing. I'm going to turn it off and let it come down, and then I'm going to add the other stuff. So what else is left? Oh, yes. Okay, so then beans. I like the black beans, although I also have made this with pinto. There we go. And I cannot open a can. It's one of the things that is not in my skill set. Not in my skill set. So my cameraman is going to open this can. He's such a nice guy. And I'm going to use the same strainer, so I don't have to wash something extra, to drain the beans. Okay, and all the beans are high in protein, and some of them are high in calcium, and they all have slightly different things, but they're all good.
Protein.
Protein, and soluble fiber,
Right.
and phytochemicals. Oh, beautiful color.
Iron.
Iron, yes. Chickpeas have a lot of calcium in them. Okay, now what have I done? Hi, I'm going to put it over here for a moment because I left my. Okay, so we are going to let this water out. I'm going to turn on the fan just for a moment, just to get rid of this. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, and then when this goes down, I can open it up and add the sweet potatoes. I have done it in the way where I suggested in there where you put the sweet potatoes in the toaster oven.
I was going to do that, but you said,
I can't hear anything. Hold on a second.
okay.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you suggested the roasting them, but I just pan roasted mine. I just cut them up and pan roasted.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, there's different ways of doing it, but
yeah.
Anyway, so I'm going to now cook this for about 3 or 4 minutes more. It shouldn't take too long to get up to. There we go. So if you remember with the pressure cooker, this is a very simple pressure cooker. You just close everything off, and when you see this little yellow thing, we have liftoff, and that's when, like, if your recipe says to cook for 6 minutes, that's where you start. I'm going to time it for about 3. And when it does come up to top when it does have liftoff, then you just lower it to as low as you can go while maintaining liftoff, as they say. Okay. There we go. Maybe a little bit more. I don't know why it's not. Should make a little bit of noise. Okay, there we go. Okay, so back here we have our beans. So the reason I did that is, if you notice, I have very few dishes, dirty dishes. I rinsed the quinoa in this. I put the sweet potatoes in it, and now I'm going to put the beans in it. Voila! And we are going to mash the beans.
Do you always mash them?
I do always mash them. I don't mash them like 100% mash them like blenderize, but I just, get them a little open.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pop them a little bit. Again, it's good exercise, for those triceps here and everything else. Okay.
Probably absorbs the flavors better too, no?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'm going to put in, I know there are measurements in your thing, but I'm just going to put in, it looks like about a teaspoon. We like it kind of a little spicy. That was the cumin. This is the chili powder. And once again, these are not the containers these things came in. That's probably, let's do like a teaspoon of that. I buy these things in bulk from Frontier Co-op or get them in the, any place that sells them in bulk in smaller amounts, but things like cumin and chili powder, I I buy in a, I'm gonna lower this.
Work,
Oh, no,
work,
the sound that we hear actually is the quinoa coming up to pressure. Anyway, as I was saying, I buy these in bulk and I pour them into my own containers, and then the rest of it is in a foil bag rolled up in a freezer bag in the freezer. So, and it also calls for a little bit of garlic. I don't want a lot of garlic in it, but a wee bit. Here we go. We're just gonna shake, shake, shake your garlic. Shake your garlic. Okay. And the other special thing that goes in there is salsa. Dennis loves peach salsa and Newman's Own. I also like, they had a smoked peach salsa at Trader Joe's, but I think they discontinued it. That's what happens. All the good stuff gets discontinued. But so this has 125 milligrams of sodium in 2 tablespoons, which is a serving. I'm going to be putting a bit more than that. This I could probably open. Voila. And once again, does Renee measure? But you know what? That is for this. So I'm going to turn this off and see, hopefully that everybody's done. And I'm just going to, should I measure? I'm sorry, guys.
Just put a spoon. Yeah.
I probably put in about 1/3 to 1/2 cup. And I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to mix it up and see if I like it like that. I think I want it wetter, a little wetter. This stuff is tasty. Okay, so let's say I did put 1/2 cup in. Voila. Okay, I think that'll do it. Is there anything else that goes in there? No. So we have our beans.
Beans and spices.
Beans and spices and salsa. This is coming together here. Mix it up nice. There may have been something I forgot to do. The quinoa, cook on high pressure. Oh, let the pressure release naturally. I always forget because some of them say let it, like the brown rice, you release the pressure and then let it sit for 10 minutes. This one, see, it only cooked for 1 minute and it's like ready. And then when that says 10 minutes, then that's done. And meanwhile, we're cooking getting everything else together. So I'm gonna put the salsa and the garlic powder back in the fridge so that they can keep cool. And we can get other things together meanwhile. And I
And
also,
you use the sriracha at the end on top? Is that what you do?
I do, yeah, we kind of just decorate our bowls with them and he likes it hotter than I do. So he uses more. So meanwhile, other things. This is cilantro. People either love it or they hate it. It's a genetic thing. We discussed this once before that some people, it tastes like soap and they can't help it. It's not like,
But it can change because it used to taste like soap to me and now I love it.
Oh, really? That's great.
Yeah.
What a wonderful thing. Anyway, so I'm gonna, we love it. So I'm gonna cut off a bunch here. You know what I'm gonna have to do? I'm gonna have to actually, no, I don't. So some people don't eat the stems. I'm not that particular, but I'm gonna do these things here. I should go check our pressure is down here. I'm gonna check the potatoes and see if they're done. Let me get a fork to stab them with.
The cilantro goes in the beans, right?
Yeah, the cilantro is also gonna be a garnish on the top. It'll look
Okay,
good.
I'll save a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
so let's see how is everybody happy in here? Oh, they're pretty happy. Let me see if the greens, see, there's just not that many greens in here. I think the greens are done, but I'm gonna let this cool a little bit and before I burn my mouth. Let's see. Oh yeah, mushy, like spinach. Okay, so that stuff is done. I'm gonna put the cover back on to keep it hot. And we're getting there. So now I'm just preparing the quinoa. Any questions? Everybody following along here?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm getting the leaves out. And we're just gonna have stuff ready. So when the time comes, which will be in about 8 minutes, but we may not be finished by then, it could all just hang out. We will assemble our bowl.
I didn't have quite enough cilantro, so because they're all doing flowers now, but I also had some culantro, which is great to go through the summer because it goes through the heat.
So I am cutting up the stems of my kale. Why? Because I'm putting it in my compost pile.
Yeah.
So anyway, it'll compost easier. And let's see who else goes in here. All this other stuff I'm cleaning as I go. And then at the end, I won't have very much to do. Okay, so we've got cilantro. I'm going to cut up the cilantro. Sorry, I didn't complete that task. Yeah.
Good fertilizer.
Okay, I'm going to rinse the cilantro. I bought the cilantro at the farmer's market too last week.
God bless you.
Bless you. Okay. Voila. So were more people able to get in? I don't know.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's Heath. I talked to Joseph and he gave me the meeting code and the password.
Okay,
I
good.
got it
You
now.
didn't get, you
And
didn't get,
my email just now, Dennis tried to get me in, but my email bounced back. So maybe that's why I didn't get the second or the
Oh,
current link. We got to look into
Sorry.
that later.
okay. Were there other people as well? I don't know. Anyway,
There was
Okay.
one other person.
one
right?
other person, I don't know if they got in. Okay, so we have our cilantro. We have avocado. Avocados are wonderful. This one's got a few little boo-boos in it, but we're not terribly. Yeah. Okay, we had the rest of this for lunch today. So I will just sort of slice that. Oh boy, I'm not even hungry. What are we gonna do? Okay, we're gonna have to eat.
How do you cut up the avocado?
Just little, it's gonna be like little slices. That
Oh,
part actually looked like
okay.
good. I have another avocado waiting in the wings. So the real problem with avocados is once they get ripe, you gotta use them. Well, we'll use this stuff and for starters. And then I have lime, Persian lime. There we go. I'm gonna give that a little rinse. And all we do with that really is I'm just gonna cut little wedges. Give it a wedgie. There we go.
I didn't have.
And
Okay.
then my knife doesn't feel very sharp here. Okay. Sharp knives, unsharp knives, dangerous.
Good.
That's okay. So we have that. Okay, and then we're kind of like ready to go. What do we oh God, we still got another 5 minutes for our quinoa to sit. So we've got everything pretty much assembled. I'm going to be using this cheese, which is not real cheese. But it's a Mexican 4-cheese style blend. But this is a recipe that lends itself to variety. I mean, you could add other vegetables. You could, add other spices. I saw all sorts of recipes online with, cilantro, lime, yogurt sauce, and, lots of things that you can do for it. Dennis is sharpening a knife as we speak. So any questions, anything? Did I cover my outline here?
I have a question about pressure cooking.
Okay.
Because I use the old style pressure cooker with the jiggler on the top.
Yeah.
So why is that less safe, or is it less safe? I've never had a problem with it, but then the kind that you use.
No.
Well, it makes some people nervous because if you're not careful, it could make a hole in the ceiling or knock out an eye or something. So I think
No, that's the old ones. They have release valves on the new ones.
no,
I
she
like
said
my old one
she says she has an old one with a jiggle top. So the kind that I was showing you.
that I
is-
never had problems with. And it's like, if it's not broke, why fix it? For me. I'm
That's
just
fine.
talking
That's
about for
fine.
me.
That's fine. They do have these second generation ones, which is the one that I used, which has no jiggle top. It just has these little things that come up. I mean, there's a variety of mechanisms that different brands have. But so that's the one I have, is like inexpensive, easy one. And then they have, fancier one. And you can tell like if it's high pressure or low pressure by like this other one that I have. Let me kind of show you.
Who has the jiggle top?
Hold on 1 second. The Ecomatic one. What did I do with the top here? This is the top of the other one, and this one, I guess you could see this. This one has like see the little red lines?
Yeah,
Like if you go up to there, it's low pressure and then it's high pressure. So that this is a little fancier than the other one.
so
And it's-
I'm just trying to figure out what the difference in danger is. I mean,
Oh, in
if
danger,
it's- if it's
I
too
mean-
high in any pot, it's gonna
Who is
explode.
it who has the jiggle top?
Heath,
Pardon me?
Heath, I do.
it's dirty.
My name is
Oh.
Heath Joyce.
Oh, hey, thank you. Thank you. Does your jiggle top cover have a little relief valve, like a little thing that pops up?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so that's the signal. The new ones have the pop-up, so it's not like the old ones didn't have the pop-up. So it was hard to tell when there was pressure in the pot. That's why people were afraid of them. But you can tell when the pressure's up. When that little thing goes down, the pressure's out, so it's not a problem. There's no safety.
right. I
There's no
mean,
safety.
okay, so that's really just a myth that one is more dangerous than the other.
No, I
It's
think
really a
it
myth
has-
that it can
I think-
explode.
I think it has to do with user error more than anything, and
Yeah.
that one of them is more apt to have user error than the other. That's all.
I think it was the ones that didn't have the indicator of the pressure indicator. So
Right.
that was, people thought the pressure was down and they'd go to open them and the lid would pop
Oh
up
my.
to the ceiling.
Okay, so our
So
quinoa,
there actually were pressure cookers that didn't show the pressure without
Yeah.
a pressure release valve. Those are the really old ones. Mine's not that old. Okay.
Really old, right? You don't
Thank
have
you,
a
thank
really
you.
old- Okay, yeah.
Sure, the valve's not blocked.
so I just want to say a little bit about this T-shirt. That this is from when I worked at the VA, and we were one of the VAs that pioneered cooking with our patients, because nobody learns how to follow a diet by handing them a piece of paper and saying, "Mr. Jones, you've been eating lard for 50 years and you just had your triple bypass, and here is your low fat, low cholesterol diet for you to follow." And he doesn't know how to, do anything in the kitchen.
Right.
So that's why we started the cooking classes. And so it's, that's what this is from. And I think this is a Sendak, he's gonna give me up close and personal. Cute, isn't that cute? It makes it fun. Anyway,
Yes.
so that's the story. So as you can see, it says 10, it's been there for 10 minutes. I'm going to move the thing to make sure that we have all the pressure has been released on this Instapot. I do want to say, I really like this Instapot. It's very easy to clean. See, it's telling me it's done. I'm just going to hit cancel because I need to. And then you be careful with the camera, it doesn't get all steamed up here. And there you have your quinoa. And it's good to, what did I do with the fork? You can stay where you are. And I just like to fluff, quinoa requires fluffing up. And I do also, it comes with, so you don't burn yourself, it comes with these silicone mitts. So I'm just gonna fluff it up a little bit. And then what I'll do is I'll make one bowl. Dennis, are you hungry? Yeah, you can eat, okay. Let me get a spoon. Okay, so I'm gonna use this wooden spoon. So I'm gonna put in about, I don't know, it's just a taste. So you like that? Is that good? That's good. Okay, so we are now assembling our bowls. Quinoa,
Okay.
vegetables. Oh, you know what? I used the wrong spoon. I'll take it back. I'm gonna use the slotted spoon. That way, all the juice stays on the bottom. We like vegetables. We're gonna just pile it on. Okay, good. Okay, then, voila. What I made a mistake. I usually put the cheese underneath, even though it's not as pretty, because then it'll melt a little bit. We don't need a lot of cheese. You could also use feta with this. Here, I'll give you this one. It looks a little prettier. And then we're gonna put on some avocado. Use a little spoon, be easier. There's our avocado. Isn't that pretty?
Yes.
Did you already
Okay.
put the beans?
Thank you. I knew there was something missing. Okay, and then I'm gonna put the beans, like about half a cup of beans or so. There we go.
All right.
Thank you. And then I'm gonna squeeze the lime, especially over the avocado, which likes citrus to keep it nice.
Yep.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
and there we have a bowl, wait, and then we're gonna put on some of the cilantro. Very pretty, very pretty.
Oh, more cilantro. Right.
And then, because it's Dennis's bowl, voila. Whoops, sorry.
Sriracha. Okay.
Say when, say when.
When?
Okay, there we go. And there you have the bowl, the kiss bowl.
I'm gonna put some yogurt on
Okay, yeah, and you can put yogurt on it.
Right.
Let me talk a little bit
my
about yogurt.
avocado. Okay.
There's yogurt I would recommend for this. Let me find it.
I'm just using the So Delicious.
Yeah, I've been using the Nancy's oat milk one, but I find that the Kite Hill, I like the Kite Hill because it's thicker. It's more like a Greek yogurt. And I like it. But I've been, sometimes I mix the two. So this morning, actually, we had the tofu pancakes. Has anybody tried them?
I do.
Okay, good. What do you think?
Well, they're different from anything I've ever had, but you know what? I liked them. And
Good.
I found out that I did not have indigestion after them like I do after my usual pancake.
What are your usual pancakes?
They're a mix of whole wheat, oatmeal, different kind of millet, coconut.
Yeah.
almond.
So these are totally gluten-free, and the silken tofu gives them a little fluffy thing. And my favorite part, of course, is the cardamom. I'm a cardamom freak. Some people say they don't like cardamom. You could try it with cinnamon, you could try it without anything, but I love it for the cardamom. And in fact, I don't even really want to put maybe a drizzle of maple syrup on it, but I usually make a yogurt, like mixed yogurt with fig jam or raspberry jam or both, and use that as a topping. And I might slice banana on it, but I actually just like them plain. And if you have leftovers, they're a great dessert, like on another, some evening or whatever. It's just a nice snack. So yeah, and they're pretty good. So yeah, didn't have them during Passover, but I don't know if people saw my postings of the incredible stuff we ended up with. And I also a friend of mine has a peach tree and invited me to come pick peaches, and they're still not totally soft, but some of them were soft enough that I made a peach tart the other night. So that was really nice, all the fresh fruits coming into the season. So voila, the bowl. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Okay, isn't that beautiful? I'm going to cover it up so that we have it relatively warm later. I have a good thing to put on it. This thing. And we could always just nuke it a wee bit. So it's going to go. Hold on. Okay, we're really early. So are there any questions or concerns or anything that you'd like next time? There's going to be a big break before next time because in 2 weeks is Mother's Day. And then on the 15th, I had something else happening. So it'll be the week after that. And that'll probably be the last one before people go their ways for the summer. So either we could do lasagna or we could do something else.
I would like lasagna
Okay,
for one.
good.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
we love our lasagna. So I see Joyce is already eating her bowl. Fantastic.
I'm eating it. I agree with Dennis. The sriracha makes it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Renee, do you do anything with jackfruit?
that's a good question because I found a box of jackfruit that I had for a really long time, and I don't usually use jackfruit. Well, one, because it has like 0 protein in it. So people use it as a meat substitute, but it's not really a meat substitute in terms of nutritionally. And then a lot of people use it like as pulled pork, instead of pulled pork, which isn't something that I really like to eat either. but I did use some the other day. I found a box of flavored one. I think it was a coconut Thai curry or something, already had the flavoring in it. And I used that, and I also used like tempeh, I think, in the dish so that it would have some protein in it. And it actually came out pretty well. I don't remember what exactly, it was a stir fry dish, like a Thai stir fry kind of thing. And it was yummy. It was yummy, but yeah, it's not, so yeah, so it's fun food if you miss pulled pork or something that has sort of that texture. But
Or you just
it's
like
not-
barbecue.
yeah, it's not really my thing. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't miss meat, so you know, maybe once every few weeks we'll have a, you know, Beyond Burger or one of those Dr. Prager's kale burgers or something like that. But it's not really my thing. So
Gotcha.
anyway, other questions?
How'd you come up with the kiss bowl?
How did I come up with the kiss bowl? Well, it's what I make. And when I looked online for recipes, they were all much more complicated. I mean, there is a slightly more complicated one, which I have done, where I toast roast the sweet potatoes, and they do taste good, and it gives it a little nice texture. But you know, how much better is it that it's worth, you know, dirtying a pan? This way they both cook together, and you know, when you put all these spices on it, it doesn't make a huge difference. But you know, it is nice to have that texture if you want to do it. And then there were all these other, you know, more complicated things where you have to make a separate sauce and this and that. And this is sort of like the least amount of time and the least number of dirty dishes that I could come up with. So
Keeping it simple, right?
yeah. So, and of course, you guys aren't stupid. You're sweet. So I called it the Keep It Simple, Sweetie. So anyway,
You didn't want to insult us.
no, I wouldn't insult you. There's nothing to insult. Anyway, so yeah, I'm trying to think. So I just wanted this Kite Hill yogurt. They also, if anybody knows where to find it, tell me, because one time I found the Kite Hill yogurt with protein in it, which has, this says 1 gram of sugar. This is unsweetened. This is just, I'm trying to think, almond milk, starch, cypress, you know, whatever in it, stuff to make it thick. This one has 4 grams of protein, but they have one that says Kite Hill, I think it's Greek with protein, and I can't remember where I bought it and know where I go now seems to find it. That has 12 grams of protein and a 3/4 cup or something. 3/4, yeah, that's the,
I've seen it in a number of places. I mean, even Publix had it, and
Yeah.
Whole Foods has it.
yeah. Well, the
My
last,
absolute favorite is Cocoa. It's expensive and it tastes
Oh,
like
yeah.
coconut, so it doesn't work with everything.
yeah, well, this is the one, I'll show you. This is the one that is my go-to, because I used to love the Nancy soy, and Nancy stopped making the soy because they couldn't get soybeans, I guess. So I get this one, and this one has, I think, 6 grams of protein in a 3/4 cup serving, and it tastes pretty good. But I like the now creamier, what it says now creamier. So I like the thickness of the Kite Hill, but it is less protein and it's almonds, and you know, so that's the story. And
I have a question about
yeah.
the black beans are canned. So do you rinse beans when they come out of a can?
Yeah.
I do. And if you want to really get all the sodium out, you could like submerge them and like fill up your bowl with water, and then, you know, and do that a few times, and the sodium and salt will osmose out into that water, and then you can just pour it out, and you would have very little sodium left in there. So
Okay.
I think that's good. And if you really want to have less sodium, you can make them from scratch, but that is a job, and you know, most people don't want to do it, especially in Florida. I don't want to heat up but if I do have a pressure cooker, you know, you can do it in 6 minutes. So that's the other benefit of the pressure cooker is you're cooking, but it's only 6 minutes instead of 2 hours. But that's one way to do it. And yeah, and the other thing is when you're doing a pressure cooking beans from scratch, do not add any salt or they will never get done, because the salt toughens them up, whether it's lentils
I see, okay.
or split peas or beans. Do not put any salt in until the very end. And also do not put any tomato sauce in until the beans are tender. So that's, you know, whether you're using a pressure cooker or cooking them in a regular stovetop. no salt. So what,
Well,
I'm doing the Instapot today, and which I haven't taken out of the cupboard for about a year.
uh-huh,
Because well, for one person, it's, I don't know, it's like overkill. It's
Right.
but anyway,
Really?
I'm doing it now because because it got all the things, and it's I'll see how it works out. I'm kind of behind
Yeah.
you, but
yeah,
I've got
I really,
my
you use less energy, so it's better for the planet.
oh, right. Also,
Yeah.
pressure cookers use less, if you use a stovetop pressure cooker, it's on there for less, and so you're using less energy. And then, of course, the electric ones are using electricity, and just for a brief amount, I mean, 1 minute, it cooked for 1 minute, you know?
for the quinoa, right?
Yeah. for the
And
quinoa.
I haven't put the potatoes in yet, so this just go ahead, and I'm behind you, but
Oh, that's fine. So yeah, what I did is I steamed the kale. I started steaming the kale, and then I added the potatoes, because you don't have, I mean, you could steam them together, but I like
Right.
the kale to get, in this case, this kale was pretty tender, and I probably could have just cooked them together for like 3 minutes and it would have been enough. So,
right, okay.
but sometimes
Yeah.
you get tougher kale. So this was pretty young, and it was probably cooked. It was probably picked Thursday morning, so it was pretty fresh.
This is, I
But-
got the lacinato kale is what I'm using.
oh yeah, that's a little thicker. And the other thing about kale and other greens is actually it's really good to use them right away, because even after 3 days, which is what I've done, they lose a lot of the nutritional value. So it's good to use them like instantly.
I see. Yeah, they'll lose their color too. It's
Yeah.
you leave
Oh,
it in the
yeah.
refrigerator. Next time you grab it, they're like yellow.
Yeah. No, these stayed pretty nice and fresh and tender, but it's not always the case. You're right. So Dennis, was there something you were going? Oh, you were talking about the pressure cooker. Yeah.
We're just, for the planet,
For
because
the
it's
planet.
faster.
Yeah. And that's what this is. We're not vegetarians. We're not vegans. We're planetarians. So
You're a climatarian.
climatarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the word. Climatarian. Did I say planetarian? That's
But you can
really,
be a planetarian too. Yeah.
that's really great. Planetarian, the planetarian.
Planetarium.
Planetarium.
Planet.
Well, I'm wild about cooking with life.
Oh, good. Cook for life.
Cook for
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
So, I mean, we could end early unless people have anything else they want to talk about.
No, I just appreciate it. I know we won't see you maybe for a month now with Mother's Day and everything coming up.
Yeah.
So enjoy that wonderful holiday.
Oh, look, I see Suzanne is here.
Yeah,
Are you able to
Right.
stand? Yeah, good. Great. So I guess if there's nothing else, then we can, everybody could say goodbye and eat dinner.
All
I
right.
finished
Okay.
mine
And
already.
hello?
I just want to, what, someone had some, Katie? No. Okay,
Maybe
I just
maybe
want to
you
say
can
that,
hear me now. Is that, hi, Renee? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I've had to use my phone and the camera's not working, so I can't show that, but, and I've been cooking, but thanks so much. And I look forward to the lasagna I'm making. That's for
okay,
sure.
yeah, the lasagna. Yeah, if you want,
My favorite.
it's Dennis's favorite. It's like usually like every other Friday night, it's lasagna. And I make a whole big thing, and it lasts like several days in a row. Sometimes I've actually frozen some because it's like, I get tired of eating lasagna. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
No. Anyway, so yeah, it's pretty good stuff. And you can do gluten-free, totally vegan versions of it. And it's pretty darn yummy. And if you make your own tomato
That's good.
sauce, it's even better, but I'm lazy. Anyway, okay, well, the other thing is we're gonna keep the 5 o'clock, because that way, people can spend some time outside, and as my tech support likes to do as well. So everybody's good?
Good deal.
Yeah.
Thank you
Good.
so
All right.
much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you guys so much.
Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
And
Thank
And
God
all this-
Macron was